Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adam, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvolt, Blue Ridge Ranger, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Racky Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik86, Jeronism, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Missouri Bear, Nagara, Nathan Thompson, Naibai, Tar Craig, Renee, Bob, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic936, The Flat Earth Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock App, Texas Mike, Tina Baker, Tom Hawkins and Windrider. So a massive shout out of appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are joined by a few people in both G+ and Discord, so I'll raise the mic on them and you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever the hell is in there while I set up for the next live show. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello.
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 Yes, we
got
can
the
hear you.
hellos out of the way.
It's a deja vu. Did we say hello already?
The
Yeah.
hellos. I'm buying. Yeah, that was a good video by John Thor. So we got Mitchell from Australia. We got John Thor. Let's see who else comes on board.
Taboo Conspiracy made an interesting video about it because he's kind of saying, and I do see his point, which is to say that you can see the occurrence of what we've dubbed the black swan in that particular example more often than not, according to Taboo Conspiracy. And while I might agree with his point, it seems a bit of a shame that he's diluted the modus tollens point that little bit by saying, oh, no. Actually, what they're calling black swans is your everyday white swan. It's an everyday occurrence to see the horizon in a position that's geometrically impossible. It's like, well, yeah, that might be the case, but that doesn't change the fact that the modus tollens argument is to say that you've only got to disprove it as a geometric horizon once to disprove the notion that you always have white swans, geometric horizons. So I do understand his point, but it's like, you could have waited a little bit till the point was understood by everybody before you start saying. I mean, I don't disagree with his point though. I mean, if he's saying, because I don't go out with a camera and he does a lot. So if he's to say, well, no, you do more often than not, in fact, see a geometrically impossible horizon, I'm more than willing to accept that. He could have made that point without necessarily saying, well, actually, no, they're white swans. It's like, well, that's just going to confuse everybody. But there we go. I don't think he was in any way being malicious when he did that.
I got a take on that. After it was clear what the black swan was, I actually said, I wonder how many of the old videos and pictures will show the black swan that we just missed because we were more busy looking at the objects and how they were disappearing bottom up rather than what was behind them.
No, I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is, without sounding hypercritical of Ben, which basically am being, he would have been better off saying words to the effect of, black swans aren't actually that uncommon. There's actually quite a lot of black swans.
Of course there are, because we live on a flat Earth. Of course there will be. That doesn't take away from the fact that I have the black swan. Just hold off on that, if you would, sir.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Just hold off on that because I'm going to deal with that personally.
The point is you only need one.
Yes. You only need one. There might be lots. In fact, in reality, there are lots of black swans.
Ask you a question. The new guy on Globebusters, what's his name?
I don't know.
Does anyone know? Would it happen to be Rodriguez?
Anybody
Not
who
sure.
watches Globebusters here?
No, I don't. I don't watch it.
No, I don't.
I don't.
He's
I
one
don't,
of them, but I think
There we go. Do you
I
know
thought
the
the
name of the
guy's
guy who
name,
watches?
if it's
I was
the one
gonna
I'm
say he's
thinking.
one of them, but there's also a little kid that seems to be on it now, or somebody younger at least, not a kid. But I think that's what you meant.
yeah.
Well, there's a guy with a name Rodrigo, but I don't know if it's the same one. He has a YouTube channel.
Okay, but what's the point?
He's on my list.
The new Globebusters guy has made the list, whoever he may be.
Yeah, he's on my list. I don't know his name because, like I said, I don't watch the shit show. But he's on my. I'm gonna give you my list here when the show starts.
Okay.
But I want to specifically identify him because I don't know.
Can you hear us in Discord? Anybody know the name of the
Yes,
latest?
we hear you.
Go ahead, Oblivion. Do you know the name of the latest Globebuster?
No, sorry. I thought you were asking if we can hear you.
Yeah, but more importantly, to find out from anybody who watches the show what his name is, because I don't know his name.
I don't watch the show anymore.
Wonderful. Just when we need somebody to actually watch the show and know what's going on it. Well, how do you know this then, QE? How's he made the list if you don't watch the show?
Somebody sent me the show from yesterday where they decided to go over the Black Swan. Karen B, you're on my list. All right. It's been a long time coming too. But I'm going to hold off until the live show starts.
I've got something to say to Karen B too. You tell that hairy fucker, Bigfoot, I'm coming for that bastard.
Yeah. I'm coming for this one.
And he'll be praying to God he doesn't exist when I find him.
Got that damn Skippy. Tired of your fucking mouth. Do you hear me?
Loud and clear, actually. Very, minimal distortion.
Give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna go do a couple things and I'll be back.
Fortunately, there's only one housekeeping question to cover. And we'll keep it to one of the brief ones, I think. We'll do Molten Iron Core today. Any objections?
Nope. Should be interesting.
Can you hold my hand? I'm scared.
No, I meant the
No.
Iron Core. There's no answer for the Iron Core because they don't know it.
Dark times. Always the way in winter.
Yeah, I was able to share the Black Swan yesterday with a couple of new people. Came over to watch Super Bowl and no rebuttal. Actually, there was a rebuttal. Well, don't they know this? All the people in science, don't they know this?
Not in science. Well, no, because
Well,
the
that
people
was
he's
the
probably
response. It's
he
like,
or
well,
she's
how come you know this? And those people don't know this.
they're not in science. They're in
Well,
pseudoscience.
that's another. No,
They're
I
the
know,
ones
I know,
punting
but
it. That's the problem. The people who are the ones punting this rhetoric aren't science. They just profess to be science.
Yeah, I answered it a little bit. That's just a whole nother subject that would have gone over their head. Because they look at the messenger, right? And they say, well, what do you know compared to these people? And you're saying this to me, and I could see the Black Swan is true based on what you're showing me. But how come the people that this is their livelihood, how come they don't know it? And so I said, well, when you grow up in kindergarten, the globe, and you've been going through the school system, and this is the paradigm you accept, and everything must fit this paradigm. So you just just parroting what you've been taught before. But if you just stand outside of it and ask questions and seek an answer that might be coming from outside of this paradigm, that's the only time you're going to know it, because you'll never entertain it before. You just wouldn't even entertain that thought. It wouldn't even come across your mind.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Quantum Eraser, 10th Man, Flatsoid, Righteous Force and Arwin in G+, along with a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning from Discord.
Hello, hello. So over last week we covered 6 of the housekeeping questions, and we're going to round out the last couple or last 3 during these next 2 or 3 shows in this week's sort of lineup. So we're going to start off with the molten iron core. So I'll ask the question to mainly the Discord panel, if anybody wants to answer before we discuss it, why it's discussed, etc., etc. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Anyone got that tumbleweed sound effect?
Crickets.
It's pure crickets.
Well, that's how much actual evidence there is.
That's what I'm waiting for. Anything at all. This is typically the response we get to this question. Total silence, because beyond the cartoons and the assertions of, what is it, P waves and S waves, which have proven to be very unreliable in terms of their consistency in proving what they say they prove, you only have the rhetoric and the cartoons and the story of Thea smashing into Earth, depositing its giant molten iron core, which would be beyond the Curie point anyway. Hence we ask for it to be a self-perpetuating molten iron core. So there is no evidence for it. Whoever's left sounds off mic, mute, whistling their mic. Someone in Discord.
Apologies.
How about any kind of molten core? How about a core?
Right, precisely. We've got to get the disclaimers into the question, though, because they'll weasel their way around it if you're not very specific about the self-perpetuation, the fact that it's molten, the fact that it's at the centre, the fact that it's in the centre of a presupposed Earth, the self-perpetuation, all those things you've got to disclaim.
First need a sphere to have an iron core.
Well, you need a sphere in order to have a center.
The deepest hole ever dug is in Russia, about 8 miles. So how would they prove this?
They wouldn't. I like the fact that
they deduce it based on models, based on a bunch of echoes down there.
I just like the way the story for how we have come to possess a oversized molten iron core has derived from a necessity, not through any empirical evidence whatsoever, but purely out of necessity. So based on the timeline they give to the heliocentric system, we wouldn't have a molten iron core, we wouldn't be creating self-perpetuating magnetic fields, because it would be cold. So they end up coming up with this entire story of Thea smashing into Earth at a glancing blow, depositing its molten iron core, all of the debris coalescing into the moon. That's just a story. They've just completely made that up. It's pulled it out of their ass. Why? Well, because we need a bigger core. We need a bigger core. That's why. That's a good one to ask.
Dead subject.
Sorry, go on, Flat.
Well, who was around here to watch that Thea or whatever, however you pronounce it, hit anything?
What, 100 million, 100 billion, whatever years ago? Nobody. It's true because they made it up themselves.
Why did they originally even felt the need to do it? Was it just to be able to explain volcanoes in some kind of way?
I keep telling you, the molten iron core's got nothing to do with volcanoes.
Like the revolution in electricity, for example, and magnetics, because that probably changed a lot about what was realized that could be possible. Was it invented before that time? What do you think?
I just want to nip that in the bud. I've said this to you before, I know I have. The molten iron core's got nothing to do with volcanoes, even in their rhetoric.
P waves and S waves?
But where do you think it's in what age was the molten iron core concept conceptualized, do you think?
Don't they need it for gravity?
Page 37. It's not like it's
age, not page.
I know, I heard you.
See, they need a very, very dense mass to be able to attract the gravity, so.
I'm just going to do a couple of quick shout outs. So, big shout out to latest member, Effie Diplomat, who joined as a lion. So, big shout out to you. Woohoo! And also, Plane 2C. Big shout out to you for joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. And then over the last couple of days, MacGyver, Institute of Ninja Technology, who also joined as a penguin. So big shout out to you as well. Thank you very much for joining. And last but by no means least, big shout out to Alexander for hitting the super chat. It says, coronavirus is the proof. It came from Earth's core. There was no laughter. Winky face. Thank you very much for the super chat, Alexander. Really appreciate your support. And thank you to all the new members. Right, that's it. I don't think there's anything else to say on the molten iron core. Someone mentioned P waves and S waves, which have proven unreliable in terms of their predictions versus what actually occurs. So typically it's Anthony or Sleeping Warrior that would give this example in terms of them claiming that they found certain types of solid material only to discover that it's actually water, for example. There are many. Nevertheless, they're simply not reliable, whoever said P waves and S waves.
But is there even any kind of preliminary sign that there is such levels of heat?
Any metal on Earth can take.
Hold on, Arwin. Say again, Earth-shaped investigator.
Yeah, just for the sake of completeness, how deep do they say the P waves and S waves can sort of detect? Is it 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 1,000? What do they say about that? Just for the sake of completeness, maybe you should.
I don't know. I don't know accurately.
It depends on the hardness of the rock it's going through. The harder it is, the quicker it will just be absorbed.
The diagrams I've seen show the entirety of a spherical Earth. So that's what they give us as a result of the bullshit they claim. In terms of how good are those actual measurements and what are they claiming of the depths they can traverse to, who cares? They're getting it wrong when they actually dig. So they say, oh, we were expecting to see this when we dig, and they don't. So that's the end for me. I haven't researched it. Once I heard that from Sleeping Warrior, I'm like, well, that's the end of that argument then.
So it would be right from the circumference from one side to the other.
There's a lot of assumptions within the diagram, but the bullshit diagram is based on something that's unreliable. So I don't give any credence to. I wouldn't have given much credence to the diagram anyway, based on its assumption of R and all the other things that it assumes. But You know, what I'm being asked in terms of what's the actual accurate depth that these machines can go to when they're firing P waves and S waves and getting return signals, I don't know the actual accurate answer. So I don't know. Sleeping Warrior may if he joins the panel.
I could add something, Nathan, because I think that what they got wrong is when they basically do the same thing they do with the celestial bodies, and that is, what's the name again? Analyzing the light and then determining what material it is.
Spectroscopy.
Right, so that is obviously a presuppositional system. It could be that they're trying to apply resonance in order to figure out what kind of material it would be without knowing all the conditions of what is down there, and then you're going to get it very wrong. But it doesn't mean that there isn't certain reliable things how it works. Like, for example, the harder the material, the more of the sound wave that's being used to scan it will be absorbed, so it won't travel as far. So there is definitely some reliable information, but as to what it actually is, the material there, that's much tougher. That's much tougher to establish.
So, Owen, are you saying Jupiter is not gas?
It is. I don't know
It's
what
not
it is.
gas in a vacuum?
I would say, though, that in regards to, this is the typical pattern. So if they're saying that they can detect 10, 100 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers using these waves, they have not evidenced that, because you have to actually be able to dig that distance and show it is what you think it is. You can't just say that at 100 meters, at 1 kilometer, okay, you can verify this is what it is, say, at that depth, right? But when they extrapolate it, just like they do with the celestial bodies, then it can be anything they want. They can say it's billion years, they can say it's 1,000 kilometers, they can say it's a billion light years. This is the typical pattern that they use, where it makes it unverifiable because of this insane extrapolation, and they cannot replicate it. Whereas in biology, you can actually, test something, for example, experimentally, and say, okay, this yellow thing is this cell. And you can verify that that's how you're measuring yellow thing equals this cell.
That is you're actually right. You're right. They have to kind of determine what the readout will be distance-wise, because a harder material will actually cause an apparent distance to increase for the wave. It'll take longer if it returns and all that. So they eventually have to get the readout and then kind of almost like sharpen the lens to unblur it and try to figure out what the actual depth is they're looking at, as it were. That's right. And it's not very easy to get it accurate. Yeah, actually, you have to physically go there to confirm any of it.
They don't need to verify anything, because whatever they come up with, it's always matching their model.
Can I just say something? Black Swan, it's dead.
Right, speaking of the Black Swan, you're around, QE.
Yeah, give me a minute or two.
No worries.
Bon appetit.
Well, let's give a shout out to John Thor for airing the Black Swan.
Oh, remember that video Chocolate shared with us? Maybe that would be a fun intro.
What was the video?
Of the Black Swans.
Oh, the Black Swans attacking people.
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that. Black Swans chasing after people.
Amazing.
So doesn't a molten iron core beg the heck out of the question of R?
Yeah, that's why I include at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth in the question.
Wonderful. I didn't hear anybody talk about the Keurig point either.
I did mention it.
I'm finding.
Speaking of spawn attacks, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think anyone was talking.
You go ahead. I just asked if it was mentioned already.
Have you guys ever been attacked by a swan?
No.
Yes.
Personally?
Yeah, but it didn't get me.
Yeah, yeah. I used to do back in the day. I used to do a lot of fishing, right? And I'd go out on my own, to isolated places, and these geese would be around, man, and they wouldn't play any games. If you got close, right, they had a bad attitude. And I can remember on numerous occasions, man, them coming up with they were ready to do business. And I said, I remember getting down, come on, because I had my fishing pole, right? So when they get close, I just twap them with it. Right? Because they meant business, man. That's cool. Thanks for bringing that up.
Geese are very territorial. That's true. They can effectively be trained as guard dogs, as it were. Did you know that some cultures do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, they're pretty strong too, from what I understand.
Very strong.
Guard
they got attitude problem, man. Like other people we know.
Right, shout out to Emma UK, who sends a picture of an umbrella. Thank you very much for the super chat. Check out Emma UK's channel. She's similar shows to this. She's got a Discord server, so subscribe today. Click on the little three dots next to her name. Go to channel, go subscribe. Thank you for the super chat, Emma.
So, we ready?
Yeah, ready when you are.
As I said many, many moons ago, the biggest enemy to the flat earth are half-wit flat earthers. I wrote this early yesterday morning to the team, and I quote, "Since the ballers are vanquished with an exclamation point, see the black swan, I think it's time to shift my focus to what I first announced on Adam's show some time ago. Ironically, IRM, Ironic Realm Media. Exposing pretender clown flat earthers. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? And I most assuredly have what they call in the industry a target-rich environment. I officially declare war on the goobers Karen B, Iru Landucci, and this Rodrigo, right? I don't know who he is. I should identify him a little bit more clearly since I'm going to declare war. So hold off on that last one. If you're associated in any way with these numpties, I suggest to pop smoke and get out of Dodge to avoid any collateral damage. My deepest apologies to everyone out there, flat earthers and future flat earthers, for allowing their nonsense to go essentially unchallenged. That stops right frigging now. I will not tolerate your glue sniffing, window licking, crayon munching, boneheaded presence in this community, spewing your science illiteracy, which you clowns collectively got from a single Cracker Jack box, and the basic reasoning and critical thinking skills of a root vegetable. Are we tracking Sally?
Okay, well, Karen Reed's a really good friend of mine.
I'm not done yet. Listen, folks, there's many, many geometric horizon black swans. Just because I called it the black swan, aka more or less the poster child, doesn't mean there aren't thousands of other black swans. There are. Why? Well, the earth is flat. Duh. That fact doesn't make the black swan not a black swan, bozo goobers. It's over. I'm sick of this. Right? There's another one that I'll personally take care of. End of message. Oh, P.S. I don't frequent the watering holes of these bozos. I don't watch their show, haven't watched it in years. So, if you guys out there would do me a favor, and if you find watering holes where these people go to, I doubt that they even go anywhere. They probably stay behind their friggin' walls. But if you find them out there, could you please pass a message to me on Discord? I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, Karen B hangs around everywhere, especially my chat, so I'll definitely pass on the message. Good luck with that, because they're more active everywhere than you are. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, you know. Yeah, they may be a little speculative. They may be just blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really make them actively attacking us or anything. I don't know why really it's really necessary. These people of all, like, they're not really negative people. You know, I could give worse examples of people that do the same thing that might need a treatment here and there of your style. Aaron B? Eru? Really?
Yeah, really.
Why? What did they do? Did they not agree, or what?
They know what they did. I'm not answering to you.
Oh, but I don't know. We don't necessarily know here. So,
Find out.
Oh, I guess, yeah, it's the same game over again. Okay.
Same game over again. Okay.
Okay. I'll pass on the message for you.
Well, it's not, how can I put this? It's very easy just to reassert what the black swan argument is, and people aren't doing it properly. I think that's the case. At least that's what I'm saying.
I just got a feeling that people don't understand the black swan argument. That's the problem.
Well, how could they not understand it? It's written down. It's on several videos. Got a modus tonens. It's very short.
Ever heard of broken telephone?
I mean, I've got 2 screenshots with everything on 2 screenshots. All I have to do is read it. Can't screw it up.
Yeah, I'll say it's easy. It's exactly what every flat earther was looking for. Period.
Yeah. And it's all done. All the homework is done. It's written down. You can take 2 screenshots and have the modus tollens as well as the first argument for the black swan in reference to the Earth's radius. That's not difficult. But everybody wants to add their version to it without any history of study or proof. So they muddy the waters.
So, can I play this clip to give what QE said context?
Close and one that's further back, and then the one that's further back, as far back as it is, you shouldn't really be able to see it at the height, at the camera height and the distance and all that, you know. Mm-hmm. But the thing that everybody's really going on about is how you can still see the horizon line beyond that back platform. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's what this is the black swan photo that everybody's referring to. And I kind of agree with Taboo Conspiracy when he said in here, I think it's like, I don't know why you're calling it a black swan. It's your every damn day swan. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, because that's like what I was wondering. I was like, why is there everybody going on about this photo? I mean, haven't we seen pictures like this dozens and dozens and dozens of times? Like, wow.
There you go. That's as much context as I can give it.
Oh, that's funny. We've seen this picture dozens and dozens of times, but we now can properly define what it is. How come they didn't do it when they saw it before?
I don't really get it. You know, it seems like cast iron flat earth proof, and it's being criticised because there's been examples before. Well, I haven't seen anybody formulate a modus tollens argument. This is the first time I've seen it. Yes, there could be other examples, but Why would you want to dilute what is basically an absolutely stone cold, undebunkable flat Earth proof? For reasons that there are other examples as well. I just don't get that. It's like, yeah, there are. But why not put positive spin on it? This absolutely debunks the globe. There can be no geometric globe based on this image. And there's others. This isn't a single case example. There's plenty of examples of black swans. That I'm all for. Because there are. Yeah, we live on a flat plane. Of course there's going to be other examples. But to take an example that's nicely laid out in terms of having two specifically distanced objects within the frame of the photo and a horizon that's beyond them, it's a nice clear-cut example to make the point with the modus tollens argument, something that's never been done before. Can you do it again? Yes, you could formulate that modus tollens into other arguments that have the horizon geometrically in an impossible position for a sphere. Yes, of course you could. I don't see why that needs to be criticised. It just doesn't seem right. It's like, why not just say, great, this debunks the globe, and there's more! You could do it too. Well, I don't get why the negative spin.
Because they didn't think about it first?
I don't know,
Does
man.
that
Is
matter?
it just too simple?
Does that matter?
Not to people like me who just want to show the lie of the globe. It doesn't matter who came up with it first. I'll just, whatever proof there is, I'm going to give credit to whoever gave it. But I wouldn't water it down the way they're doing it. It's ridiculous.
I mean, Paul on the Plane did a really good job because he mirrored, I think the one he picked was, it might have been Quantum Eraser, I can't remember which one he picked, but he picked one of the very concise, sort of under 5-minute videos. And in his description, he was like, here's the original YouTuber, and here's who mirrored it in like a list of people who mirrored it by Ben, who mirrored it by QE, who mirrored it by Nathan, who mirrored it by Mark Sargent, who mirrored it by me. And it was humorous. It's like, yeah, this is spreading like wildfire. And you're just showing the timeline of how many people have picked up on it and gone, wow, this is ace, I'm having that. And not gone, well, therefore I'm going to, I don't know. I'm assuming that is the correct motivation, 10th Man. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I can't divine their thoughts. But running along that path, that doesn't seem to make sense to me either, if I'm honest. Does it matter who came up with it originally? And it's not them.
It doesn't.
So it's not, I just don't get it.
Excuse me. Mitchell from Australia, what did he do? He put his video and did a beautiful job on it and used different things as well as whatever was there before that. And we gave kudos to him because he did a perfect representation of it.
Yeah, I thought we were all on the same side.
No, it's ego to me. I think it's just ego.
That's why I said maybe they just don't understand the point.
No, they understand the point. How do you miss it? The horizon cannot be where it's at if we're on the sphere. Based on the radius of 3959.
She definitely hasn't missed the point. She summarised the point at the beginning.
Like I said, I've got 2 screenshots. All I have to do is read them. I don't have to add to them or try to make them better.
Still here, QE. This is your point. You've been very quiet.
Still here. I ain't got anything else to say. Flat Earthers, you better up your game. If you're out here, 1 second, I'll be right back.
It's beyond me why I'm defending something that's having negative spin put on it for any reason from our own side. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. I don't know why anybody could view this in any kind of negative way. I mean, I've got to be honest, my critique would also apply to Ben. But there we go. Anybody else got an opinion on why we're having negative spin put on a cast iron globe debunking?
Negative spin? What?
What, you know? Do you not know what negative spin is?
A counter spin, you mean?
No, negative spin, like spin doctoring in the paper, when you've got either
right.
twisting a story to make it worse for your opponent, or twisting a story to make it seem better for your ally. Well, at the moment, we're having this black swan, for whatever reason, twisted like, no, you can't call this a black swan. It's like, hold on. This is a cast iron globe debunking. Why critique it in that way at all? I don't get it. What does that serve? What purpose does that serve?
Well, probably because they've decided to replace the entire functionality of refraction with their own machination. So they will then deny it because it is a black swan from an actual knowledge of optics. Then it is a black swan.
Travis, can you pop
they
yourself on
just
mute?
don't want to
Hold on,
recognize
Arwin.
that.
Hold on,
Arwin, we're
Hold
talking
on,
about
both
flat
of you.
earthers,
Hello,
not the
hello,
globers.
hello. Travis, can you pop yourself on mute? Your mic's whistling.
Oh,
sorry, Arwin.
Why flat earthers would say it's nonsensical? I don't know.
They're saying it's nonsensical. They're just putting negative spin on it.
I can't tell. Maybe people are just kind of a little bit sick of John's behavior. Maybe that's the reason, not everybody lets proper suitable motivation drive their action sometimes, especially
even get a mention.
in winter months like these. So everybody's been like exploding. I've been exploding. So
Yeah, that's you personally, Arwin. You personally feel that way. You've just taken this as an opportunity to express that. That wasn't a detail that we were critiquing in any way. Our criticism is of our own side being, albeit not necessarily misunderstanding the argument, but being negative about how the argument's been put together, and in effect taking the argument apart, weakening the argument for no good reason. No, these aren't black swans. These are actually white swans. Oh, well done. That's one way to completely confuse the audience with what currently stands as a logical consistency, absolutely cast iron, cannot be debunked. Let's just rearrange that logical consistency so it makes no sense to our advantage and call black swans white swans. Why would you do that, other than to dilute what is an absolutely cast iron proof for no good reason? Why would you suddenly say that, no, the example that's claimed is white swans because that's what we see all the time? No, the current narrative that 90% of the Western world is under is that we live on a sphere, that those horizons are geometric, and that all of them are geometric because they must be, always. So they're white swans in the modus tollens that was formulated by QE. So what, you don't like that because it's not the case that we don't, as a entire nation, automatically see all of them as being white swans? Because that would imply that the narrative was that we live on a flat earth and that we don't have a geometric horizon, because a general understanding is that all swans are white, in that paraphrasing of our solid argument. It just completely dilutes it and confuses people when we're trying to highlight that this argument probably won't be understood by most of the other side for at least another 9 months. So I know I'll just confuse it a bit further for the people on our side who may not get it.
I understand your
Arwin,
issue.
I had to close your line because you constantly talked through every word that I just said. Was it you just talking? Is that why I had to close the line, because you were just interrupting me the whole time I was just talking? Was it you talking? Can I have an opinion from the other hangout? Was Arwin just constantly talking through me through that entire...
What? No.
Well, I was watching the hangout line constantly dancing up and down.
What?
I just heard him at the very end
possible.
when you stopped talking.
Yeah, I've stopped talking now, Arwin.
So okay, sorry, I just was a bit flustered about that, but yeah, I get your point. It is weird. I see now that it's probably not an accident. It seemed like a concise effort. I don't know why they would do it. I don't know.
All you gotta know, been alive for any amount of time, is human nature and the behavior of people. And you could pretty much get close to why they're doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you first see well, here, let's take another example. Let's say somebody from another channel puts up a NASA video where it clearly shows an astronaut pulling on a harness as one of the other astronauts is pretending to be in zero gravity. Okay, so they make it come out of their channel. We see it and we start sharing it. It is what it is. The commentary, we don't even add to it because the guy doing it already pretty much succinctly put the commentary to it. And we just mirror that video and say, good, another win for us. Let more people's eyes be open. All of a sudden, you got this black swan. Modus tollens, the whole thing, beautifully done. Even a collector's edition. Mitchell from Australia got it, right? John Thor got it. Other flat earthers, they can't just share it. They have to add and subtract from the argument to make it more confusing.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. Could be just a
Well,
mistake.
that's what's
could
happening.
Be, it could be a mistake that they did that, and it might be
Ugh.
backtracking later on. I don't know. Have you
All right,
seen
let's
like
play
3
that-
years
let's
ago?
play
That
that-
kind of shit
let's-
happened all the time.
Hang on,
Literally,
hang on.
channels
Did you
would come
hear-
on like, "This is all wrong. This is wrong," and then the
we
next
hear
week
that
it's like, "Oh
audio
wait, no,
again?
it's the other way around."
Can we,
Can,
Nathan, play that?
can you let me reply?
No, you always cut
No,
me off.
no, yeah.
Nathan, can you
so
play that
typical,
audio
so
again so
typical,
that
yeah.
he could hear Karen B saying what she said?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Listen up, Arwen.
You can still see the horizon line beyond that back platform.
Yeah.
And so that's what this is the black swan photo that everybody's referring to. And I kind of agree with Taboo Conspiracy when he said in here, I think it's like, I don't know why you're calling it a black swan. It's your every damn day swan.
Yeah.
All right. So if it's our every damn day swan, why would it be the case that 90% of the Western world go by the definition that is given to them about what the horizon is? They are told the horizon's a geometric horizon. That's the status quo. That's the standard rhetoric. So all horizons are white swans, as in geometric horizons. Now, while we, as flat earthers, might go out and observe more distant horizons, debunking the notion that it's geometric, that doesn't mean that the standard rhetoric is that we have a optical or perspective-based horizon. That is not the rhetoric we live under. We are under the rhetoric that the horizon's a geometric obstruction to things in the distance because we live on a sphere. That's the white swan situation. And it's always a geometric horizon. It's always the edge of a sphere. That is the argument we are very much fighting against. They claim we live on a geometric sphere with an edge that bends. That's the white swan. So to turn around and convolute our argument, dilute it by saying, no, actually, we often see horizons that debunk the current rhetoric. Well, yeah, debunk the current rhetoric, meaning that's the white swans. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to be debunking it. Yeah, so no, they're not all white swans when it's an optical horizon that's geometrically impossible. The only reason you've got to disclaim that it's geometrically impossible is because it's a black swan, not the norm, not the common or garden white swans that they claim the horizon always is. So that's the basis of our argument. A lot of people don't fully understand the basis of the argument yet, but the people who do, the smarter people, Karen's not stupid, are going to, dilute it back down because in her worldview we should always recognise the fact that we have an optical horizon. Yet we would like that too, but that just isn't the world we live in, or there'd be no debate. So why dilute a cast iron proof into some wishy-washy way of saying, no, the worldview is actually that we have optical horizons, because that's a white swan situation right there. It's always white swan. No, it's not. No, average Joe thinks we've got a geometric horizon and it's taught to school children. That's white swan. You don't have to like it, and it's beyond me why you'd want to dilute that absolutely cast iron logical consistency. For what? What does it achieve? That would be my question to Karen. What are you trying to achieve here? Say that we should have an understanding that that's actually a white swan situation? Well, matter of fact, it isn't. I see thousands more photographs of what they claim to be white swans than these limited examples of black swans. It's not the case that people go out. The guy himself, what's he called, BMS, whatever, he went out for months and months and months. So no, it's not the case that you always see optically, geometrically impossible horizons. That simply is not the case. So again, it's beyond me why this has been put into the fray rather than going, whoa, this is solid. You cannot get around. There's no debunking for this. Not only that, all the presentations that have been done by the person who came up with the logical consistency has given you any pathetic attempts at rebuttals in advance. So you can debunk them should you be challenged with crap, ham-handed rebuttals from the globeheads to this modus tollens formulation. But no, our own side wants to rearrange it and claim, no, we only get white swan optical horizons that are geometrically impossible. That's quite a common occurrence, actually. That's the general status quo. If that was the general status quo, every single time when someone out with a camera, they'd capture a geometric impossibility. No, they don't.
I stand by my original assessment, though. I think it is just a moment of weakness, and they kind of stumbled into it. And they'll probably regret it afterward when they really think about it, or they'll just let it fade over time. I don't know. I've seen this kind of behavior from a lot of different flat earthers, way including you sometimes, Nathan. But a lot of people, pretty much everyone, did that kind of thing every now and then, like 4 years ago.
I get it. I'm no
people
angel.
don't know how to deal with themselves sometimes, you know.
I'm disagreeing with you.
We'll see if they're going to be headstrong about this, because that would be really stupid. Or if they're going to reconsider, like, maybe we didn't really interpret it right. I don't know. I don't see the necessity to now, like, full-on war mode immediately over this, you know?
Well, that's why I'm discussing it. This isn't my beef, so I can discuss it seemingly impartially. This is QE's beef. And I think it's justified. It should be held up in admiration. The people who've gone out and mirrored it, I've credited them and said, thank you very much for mirroring this. It's an important proof to have people understand. And it takes people mirroring it and rehashing it, slightly paraphrasing it isn't acceptable when it's a logical consistency argument, unfortunately. As soon as you rearrange it, as I debated with Anthony a couple of days ago, when you rearrange a logical consistency, you can easily turn it into a fallacy. But why do that with a really solid proof that debunks the globe and there is literally no rebuttal? Why is it catching like wildfire? Well, because it's pissed the globe heads off no end, because they can't debunk it.
There's no logical sense in doing it. I agree to that.
Well, that's my angle, as opposed to declaring war. Just more of a questioning. I'm trying to fathom the logic behind rearranging a logical consistency argument that's absolutely sound to something that simply isn't true, to claim that we have all white swan horizons when they're all, being claimed to be geometric. That's what we're fighting against. So to sort of rearrange the way the world is viewed by the people we're arguing with into this idealism view that we actually only experience optical horizons. Yeah, we know. That's our argument too. Yeah, we realise there's more than one black swan, but why rearrange the argument and make it confusing?
Well, maybe they are simply confused. I'm dealing with this for a while now, and I sometimes even, if I'm not like listening very concentrated from the start of a sentence on, then I can even like accidentally switch things around. It is a kind of confusing issue here. The geometric
It's not.
versus
It's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it is.
Yes,
and I showed it to two people last night. They got it.
That it is.
All right, go ahead. Finish up. Finish up.
Come on.
Contrarian.
Yeah.
I'm being practical and object. Okay, finish up, Arwen. Get all your 20,000 words out. Hurry up.
I basically backed up Nathan's argument. I don't know why you always need to be so contrarian every time I speak, man. It's getting really
No. You got something coming out of your mouth that I got to speak against. That's why.
What is
not complicated.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Chocolate.
Just re-listen to the show, okay? Just re-listen to the show so you can pick up where you forgot.
I think 10th Man's trying to say it's not complicated. It's not difficult to get.
Thank you.
very basic.
Can I tell you
concept.
something on the Mark Sargent re-airing? Someone sent me that Mark Sargent where he talked about it, that snippet about the Black Swan. And to my understanding, Karen B was a co-host. Is that right? Did someone else hear that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I read the comments underneath. I didn't catch it at first, but when I read the comments underneath, someone wrote, how come Karen B said she doesn't know what the Black Swan is? And then later said it was a picture from Taboo Conspiracy. She knew all along what it was. I said, wow, that's interesting. I did hear that. There's some games being played here.
Okay, I don't know. Weird. I don't see it really, but I'll
Well, it would
try
be
to figure out what's going
would be
on.
nice. Yeah, but it would be nice if Karen B could just come on and actually give her a choice.
A take. Yeah. Well, I'm with Arwin in the respect that I don't want to see outright war declared on people. I'd rather they were either of the understanding that there's no necessity to rearrange a logical consistency argument that's absolutely watertight, just because, in their opinion, the horizons that we see frequently are globe debunking horizons. Therefore, they're actually white swans, basically rearranging the argument. Well, I just want to know what that's going to achieve. That would be my question. What are you trying to achieve by doing that? Hey, Adam.
Afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Adam.
Dark times, Adam. Dark times.
What's up, Adam?
Isn't it? Clouds are gathering.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
Storms are brewing.
Are we talking about Goldbusters and the Black Swan? Is not a Black Swan? Is that what the is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, in essence. Basically, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't I was in that chat yesterday. I was listening to that, and I don't know. I was quite disappointed in that. I understand what their point is when they say, "Oh, it's not a black swan," because there are so many of these observations that kill the globe, and I get that. On the base level, I can understand that, but I think I don't know. I think they all miss something about this. They're not understanding the significance of it. I think the fact that has been taken and pointed out and made it's been made a specific example of just how devastating this observation is to the globe. And to me, it's like, well, yeah, you could say it's not a black swan or whatever, but it has already taken this entity of itself just by calling it that and pointing to it and bringing the attention. And it's not just the observation, it comes with the argument, obviously the modus tollens argument. And it's like that combination has brought a very big change to the whole dynamic of the way these guys are arguing. To have somebody like, Rumpus or these guys say, I've never argued for the one thing they've been arguing for years, that's significant. Right? Because that's how you know that's how you know when somebody's game has to change. When they have to change their argument, they're losing. And I think people got to really pay attention to that. And if you haven't caught that, you're not really paying attention to what's going on.
Right. They overlook the historical context.
Their arguments are changing on the fly. I mean, 3 months ago, did anybody hear them saying to us, "Oh, there's 3 horizons, there's 4 horizons, they can't find horizons. There's multiple horizons." Did anybody hear any of that crap like 3-4 months ago?
No. But they're having to backtrack and deny their own arguments. And when it was backtracked, I immediately just went back to an old debate and found them arguing for a geometric obstruction, blocking things in the distance. So it's really easy to find examples where they've had to argue. That's their whole premise of their religion. Their argument is that Earth has a sphere geometry. And this debunks it. In essence, this debunks the entire heliocentric model. It's the best debunking of the sphere to date. Now, did I appreciate that we had black swans, or the absurdity of the hump? Yeah, back in the day, 3 years ago, when I was arguing alongside Anthony about the Isle of Man pictures, I was shouting till I'm blue in the face, so you're saying there's a 150-foot wall between us and this island? And they're saying, yeah, the hump, the obstruction, the geometric edge, yeah, they're all backing it, they're all absolutely on board. Now they've got to say, we've never claimed that we've got a geometric edge. It's like, your whole religion is that you have a geometric edge. In our you trust. It's the basis of your bloody religion that they're having to deny. And then when some of them say, oh, well, we don't need to base our horizons on an R value. You're like, yeah, so we win then. That's our whole argument. You don't need an R value to assess a picture. You don't need to reify a model with an R value to assess this picture on screen right now. None of that's necessary. That's what they're telling us. They're telling us we don't need to assess this with the R value. The R value's apparent for their fixed geometrical sphere Earth. So they're having to argue from total absurdity because of this logically consistent argument. Yeah, there are more than one black swan. Yeah, a dude who's probably watching right now, really can't remember his name to credit him. Another dude, Australian dude, I think, who's basically said, I went back to some of my videos, the one that got me the most hate from Globeheads, and what do you know, it's another example of a black swan. And, this got me the most flack, and I didn't realise back then. I vaguely pointed out that the horizon was in the wrong place, but I didn't understand the significance of it. So I just kind of left it. Now here I am again, 6-month-old video, pointing out that this is another example of a black swan, a geometrically impossible horizon. And he explains why, gives the distances, game over. What he doesn't do is say, oh, there's black swans, not common, is totally common. Here you go, I've got one, I had one 6 months ago. That's not how he's approached it. He's gone, yeah, there are other examples of black swans, I didn't even realise I had one. Now, this is because I'm searching to see who's bringing up this topic. Typically, I don't do that many searches on YouTube. I go through my subscriptions. If I want to detach from Flat Earth, I go to the homepage and take the suggestions from YouTube. But typically, I'll not look for things. I won't search for terms, Flat Earth. I don't do it anymore. I did. I don't now. But at the moment, I'm searching non-stop for black swan arguments and seeing who's getting it and who's repeating it and how they're getting it. So when you come across somebody that's like, it's not really a black swan, this is common as muck, you're like, well, by saying that, you've destroyed the logical consistency within the argument that undoes sphere Earth geometry. Why would you want to do that?
I just speak on that for a second.
Bush can, Adam.
I'm not after a war, Nathan. I tuned into Globus and I've been, digging the back swan up, and I can't speak to other people's motivations, but I can describe how I felt a little bit when I heard the clip you played and the other bits, and it was real disappointment and confusion, really, because I'm quite excited by it. I think it's a fantastic proof, and talking about doing black swan things, I went to quite a bit of effort to try and go through the whole thing on Friday on Iron Realm, and try and go through why it's so good. And some of the terminology I was using was actually, the community effort that this thing is. This isn't Kiwi's work, this isn't Ben's work, and I forgot the bloody photographer's name. It's a combination of things, and it's how we come together with all our long old school work, Ben's, and credit where it's due there. Yes, those pictures were always there, but respect to Ben for being the one to verbalise it to us all and make us see the bloody obvious. And then further kudos from me to John to have formulated it in such a way that's brilliant, but with all the crap we've had so beautifully tongue-in-cheek with the use of Tollens and Ponens, I thought it was intellectually very clever to reverse that on them. So for me, I was just, I'd like to say, either confused and disappointed, or maybe not sure why people don't get the significance of this and aren't jumping up and down. A bit like I did on Friday, you know, I bothered to sit down, write, and put some stuff together because I do see the significance of it, and we're just a bit disappointed at the response from others that maybe they're not seeing the significance.
Sure, I found that too. So I went to your Iron Realm video, found the exact point that you started talking about it, and put a comment and timestamped it. It's like, I want this to be easy to find. So yeah, I thought you did a good job. And like I say, when you go to that particular video, my comment's there, timestamped. I'm not going to pester you to pin it. Can you pin it, please?
Yeah, how do I pin it, Nathan? We'll do that after the show. But there's only, we don't get comments, Nathan. There's only 3 up there, so you're right.
No, I was joking. Yeah.
But to be fair, you know, I think that Ranty's original in the ocean shot of the beach of that island kilometers away, I think that's just as much a black swan.
Yeah,
I think this is about what a black swan historically stands for.
Ranty's shot is a black swan. Yeah, it is. And your point is what?
Well, I think that there's just this, the big problem seems to be mostly that people don't really understand what the black swan is about the historical context specifically, which has not been reflected properly, because that is what it's about. It's about what it stands for, not about literal swans, not about the contrast it's about the historical context that people thought there weren't any. That's what it's about, and that's what people see.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, right? Is that these observations, now everybody's saying, oh, there's all these black swans out there. Well, nobody was even calling it that, right? Before it had a name. You know, these observations were out there. No, the ballers weren't stressing out over these oil rigs and the horizon behind it before this. Until somebody took it and pointed it out and put a name on it and said, look, we're going to look at this particular observation right here, and we're going to place an argument on it that you cannot defeat in any way, shape, or form. Because if we live on a ball 3,959 miles radius, there's no way that horizon can be behind that oil rig at 9 miles. It's impossible, right? And to point that out and to make them absolutely just say, blah, 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 the refraction, looming, the horizon's not even there. There's 5 horizons. What the fuck? How can you look at that and say that's not significant? And then when you look at the one of the other definitions for a black swan, what does it say? It says some type of unpredictable, unforeseen event. Did anybody foresee ballers throwing away their entire arguments? No. Right? Nobody saw that coming.
I did.
How many times did we say welcome to Flat Earth to ballers last week? Because they were all using our arguments. Was that happening before John put the black swan name on it? No. So yeah, you want to call it, you want to say there's all these observations, there's plenty of black swans, that's great. But the fact is, because John especially has pointed it out and put the argument out there, it is now defeating ballers all over the place. And I think that's a significant event. You could think I'm crazy or lying or whatever. I don't care. Personally, I think this was awesome. And I give kudos to John and definitely Ben and the other guy that made the video. But I mean, to downplay the significance of it and just to say, it's every day. Yeah. No, sorry. Not for us here in the Fight Club that are battling these morons every day. It's not just every day, because now they're all over the place with their babble. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're talking about looming. They don't know what the hell looming is, right? So this has changed the game. So sorry for anybody that doesn't see it. I'm glad Mark Sargent saw it. I heard him talking about it, and he gave a good shout out to it. He understands it.
Yes.
I think it's just the basics of understanding how detrimental the argument is. Not just this, oh, look at that horizon. That's not if that's the point where you're looking at it, then you missed the boat. Anyway, I'm done. Sorry.
Well said.
I'm totally with you, man. And QE did really QE turned it into a theme. But to be fair, the term has fallen. This is very niche, but I realized that I've personally witnessed Pete Shea actually bringing up the concept of Black Swan 3 years ago, but it was just like 1 or 2 hangouts and then forgot about it. So, but it's been there before, and that's just it. It's come and go, but John has taken the subject and turned it into a big advertisement bill to really shove it in people's face, and that's great. That's what we need, and I do applaud him for it. I do thank him for doing that.
Well, John said from the beginning, share it. I don't need to take credit for this. Share it as the way I'm showing it to you because it's solid. It's lock, dead, globe killer. Don't change it. Share it this way. So John said from the beginning, I'm going to use a hostile witness, Andrew Thomas Young, I'm sorry. He gave credit to BLM 69. He gave credit to Ben. And then he put together something no one in Flat Earth ever did to this point, to my knowledge, Modus Tollens. Made it a solid argument, logical consistency. And then said, just share it, spread it out. You have my permission. Don't even ask me. Just go share it, mirror this thing. And what did they do? Well, we just heard. They don't follow instructions.
Big mistake.
I want to echo everything you just said, brother.
Go on then. Oh, it was just a turn of phrase.
I just wanted to echo everything he just said. And Chocolate, they're both spot on. I mean, it's outstanding, you know. Applause to QE, man. Standing ovation. Show more enthusiasm.
Yeah,
now.
no, I totally agree. It's one of those that QE's not looking for the kudos. He's just looking for people to not rearrange his logical consistency that's watertight, or dilute it, or badmouth it. When it's like, number one, it's taken a fair bit of work. Number two, there's been, as was pointed out to Owen a second ago with Ranty's picture of Barrow and Finesse. Yeah, that's a black swan. Now, is it the same formulation with the horizon behind something? No, it isn't, but it's still a black swan. It's still a geometrically impossible horizon. But did we formulate that into a logical consistency? No. Did Ranty? No. Did Karen? No. But it was still a black swan. Well, why is it being called a black swan? Well, because the phrase has been coined with a logical consistency argument that has heritage about that particular coined phrase of black swan horizon. So you've got all of these strengths being added. It's being built up and added to by lots of different parties. You know, the first party was, in terms of the imagery, as strong as Ranty's. It could have very well been Ranty's image that we used. That's not the point. It's how it's formulated in a way that's undebunkable and leaves a geometric sphere model with nowhere to go, with no rebuttal. And our argument is that we don't live on a geometric sphere model. So what more could you bloody ask for? Oh, well, no, we've got these every day, so therefore let's rearrange that logical consistency and dilute it of any strength it had by saying, no, that's an all-day occurrence, that's a white swan, really. Well, why are you saying it's a white swan? Where have you got the idea of calling a horizon a white swan? Would it be because this is a really strong logical consistency argument that utilises the analogy of black and white swans by any chance? But you're going to take that formulated perfectly logical consistency and then flip it on its head and use the word swan when describing a horizon because you think the logical consistency that was sound isn't strictly true in our world because we actually live on a flat earth, therefore all of the horizons are actually white swans because all horizons are flat earth horizons. That would be the logic that I could only come to if I was to try and justify this. It's like, but yeah, we appreciate we live on a flat earth. We know we've never got a geometric horizon, and that's summarised within the logical consistency. Ergo, we don't have a geometric horizon. So, yeah, that is also summarised within the point. So, rearranging it and making a similar point with a total lack of a logical consistency behind it, what use is that? Saying that this is an everyday occurrence. Actually, optical horizons are just white swans. And then some wanker from the globe side says, no, we've got a geometric horizon. And we're back to square one arguing about whether or not it's a globe horizon or flat earth horizon. Well, that sounds bloody useful. No thanks. I'd much rather just stick to the actual logical consistency, its form, and its total demolition of any assertion we have a geometric sphere model giving us a horizon. That's the whole point of the argument, isn't it? Anything to add?
Yeah, that is the whole point of the argument. I'll agree with you, and I'll say, unfortunately, it looks like the name the name given to the argument, being the Black Swan, has overshadowed the argument itself. So people are too focused on the name and not on the actual proof. Like this whole started with boats going over the edge. Oh, a boat went over the edge. Wonder how that could happen. Maybe the Earth could be curved. You know, I mean, come on. This turned out nice and pretty for us.
Spot on. We don't have a geometric edge for boats to go over and to obscure distant islands and to curve at high altitudes, because we don't have a geometric horizon as demonstrated in the Black Swan images and many other Black Swans that are out there. So with that, I'll say if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, then this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who joined, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley channel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Made over the islands and all that, and that Google still had like a completely globified outlook for their model, and that they then changed it so it would be visible. Remember that?
I can vaguely remember almost every change that Google have made in what seems like a direct address to what we're talking about mere days before it changes. So you know, your average coincidence theorist would say, nah, just a coincidence on the first time it happened with the Isle of Man, when they changed the view so you couldn't see it from St. Bees anymore. And you're like, hold on, we were only looking at it like that yesterday. Why would a very specific view from a very specific point at St. Bees of the Isle of Man suddenly not be available to us anymore? That seems weird, given that we had it on a live stream yesterday. But there we go. That you could just say coincidence. But by about the third change, I think the change you pointed out with they're changing the scale in Google Maps as opposed to Google Earth. You know, those subtle changes as they rearrange the model into a sphere, you can't but help note that we're pointing them out and then they're altering them. Or so it seems.
Just like we pointed out that their little geometric horizon is way where it's not supposed to be. And now that's a problem. And now all of a sudden we're hearing about 3 and 4 horizons. People can't find horizons, right? They've even gone to the level of, oh, it's CGI. Really? So yeah, this is an event. It's not just an argument. It's not just a picture of some damn oil rigs. It's a lot more than just it's an event, man. It's something special. And to make these guys just flip their entire arguments from one day to the next, literally into our arguments, that's something special.
We've had to take...
You said...
Sorry, I was just going to add one thing. We've had to take the audience, admittedly with QE at the helm, on a journey of understanding this argument. So you start off by saying, don't allow your opponent to focus on anything other than the argument. I.e., when they start talking about refraction on the cranes, you say our argument isn't about the cranes. You know, now, I'm going to paraphrase, but in the presentations, QE said words to the effect of, I don't care if there's a Superman in a clown costume refracted on one of the decks of these platforms. My argument's about the horizon. But as we on the panel have started to argue about it, or someone else on a different panel that we know has argued about it, QE has been there saying, no, you're being led down a merry path of arguing about something that isn't the argument, the oil rigs. Now, that took a good solid week of pointing that out non-stop, that no, your opponent's taking you off the argument because that's how they can win, by arguing about something else, basically. So we finally get everyone on track. Everyone's on the same page. We're talking about the horizon. So now that everyone's finally got it locked in their sights, It's like, is it time to critique that part of our argument now, really? Our own side? Come on, give us a break. I mean, come on.
What this has done.
A little bit of context is that with every argument that we have, whenever there's a topic of interest, right, be it any point that you could call a black swan, because I get what she's saying in the sense that the Earth's flat, everything's a black swan, but the context is that we learn a little bit of something new from every fight that we have with different topics. So, for example, for me, for the Isle of Man, for me, what I learned from that, aside from the fact that it's not a sphere, is that perspective isn't taken into account with the curve calcs. Now, to have that conversation and to learn that part of that argument, you've got to have the fight in the first place. But we're having the fight on a day-to-day basis, and that's why the housekeeping points are so finitely or so finely tuned with the wordage. So because we know that the wording's strong, which all the ballers claim that they've all been debunked, by the way, they're complete liars. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that when we have these fights and we come out the other side of the fights and we know how strong the arguments are, that when all the flat earthers like trivialize it, that it's that trivialization, the rebuke of that point that we've just spent weeks over arguing over or whatever, that's the annoying part, because we fight this stuff daily, and it helps if we have some of our own side on our side with this, rather than going, I don't see what the problem is here. Well, that's because you've not been paying attention. We fight these battles because we realize that we're not on a sphere, and it helps if we have a little bit of support, guys. Come on, let's pay attention. It's not difficult.
That's the word I was fishing for the whole show. Trivialization.
Trivialization, yeah. Sadly, it's true.
Is it trivial when your opponent changes their argument completely? Is that trivial?
No.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about, man. Like you said, yeah, we're the ones battling these guys every day, and it's very apparent that they've had to switch up their whole shit. And that's significant, man. If you don't see it, then you're not paying attention. That's all I'm saying. Because even the ballers know that they're doing it. Because I never heard anything about an astronomical horizon before fucking Brenda last week. They never brought that up. All of a sudden, there's 5 horizons that we need to know about. Really?
Yeah, and they're all geometric.
Anyway.
And they're all geometric.
Exactly. But all of a sudden, we need to know about there's 3 of them in a picture with clearly one horizon. Has that ever happened in any of these debates before the Black Swan? No. So again, this is some shit. Telling you.
This is where this is going to end up going. The geometric horizon up to this point has been used to define why boats disappear bottom up first. Now, after this little disclosure of the Black Swan and the Modus Tollens, now you're going to see them saying that no, there's actually no geometric horizon. It isn't something you can actually observe. It's a thought experiment. Purely theoretical construct, not anything you could see, i.e. the geometric horizon. Now, there's various kinds of apparent horizons. Well, what happened to your old argument?
Imagine you've got the argument is a battlefield, and on every battlefield there just by coincidence, there happens to be quite a lot of swans. Now, generally speaking, most of the swans are white, but some of them are black. You know, there's generally black and a couple, white and a couple of black swans mulling around the battlefield by coincidence. Now, one day, you grab a hold of one of the black swans, you identify its strengths, you train it up, and then you release it back onto the battlefield with lasers for eyes, and it goes around chopping down every baller, and they all disperse in terror at this one black swan. And then somebody on your own side of the field goes, I don't know what the big deal is. There's been black swans on the battlefield forever. And you go, yeah, but nobody noticed them. Nobody picked one up and realised just how important they were. and then utilised it to defend the enemy, to defeat the enemy, and then you just literally one of these little black swans was picked up and then set up back onto the field with devastating effect amongst the other black swans. You know, yeah, the other black swans were just going, what the hell's going on here? I've been a black swan here for ages, but I'm not able to disperse all these ballers. So our own side says, yeah, so what? Really? Because that black swan isn't that special, there's loads of them. So what? You know, in fact, black swans are white swans. And just recognise the effort that's been put into weaponising a black swan rather than diminishing its ability to destroy the enemy. It's only one little bird, and there it is off pecking the heads and pecking the eyes out of globers left and right. Man, just revel in the aura of this black swan and its laser eyes, man.
So Nathan, can I move everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where, if I had a team, if this was an actual production house, I'd set about having a montage of a black swan going through training like Rocky. Dun, 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 dun. You'd see him doing little punches with his little feet. Dun, 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 dun. You know, 5 or 6 cut scenes later, comes out like all buff black swan. Set loose.
I'm not even attempting it, Nathan.
Anyway,
No
so
Yeah, Chocolate, I agree 100% with your statements on how
My
it
rant.
is affected. No, you actually gave a great short, concise representation of what happened from the time it was put together by QE and it went out from this show and what the ballers have done ever since. Just recoiling, double speaking, the double speak they already had. And I mean, I haven't seen that kind of cockroaches run when the light goes on in a long time with the ballers, because they got comfortable with the 8 housekeeping questions and the 9 housekeeping questions. All of a sudden, Black Swan comes out and they're uncomfortable. And my goodness, why can't our side just see this?
do you remember when I said it'll be more interesting to see how our side behave or react to this than necessarily, because the ballers just dismiss everything anyway, they ignore it. But our side's interesting to view, and I called that ages ago because I think like there'll be silence from some channels because they just don't generally like us, and there'll be like confusion from other channels, and they might come and ask us questions about it, which has happened, and I'm sure you guys have had it as well. But I was surprised that like how the interpretation from Karen came across. It's like, come on, Karen, you know this is a rock solid proof, don't you? Our own side is the interesting perception here, not the ballers.
Yeah, but I gave you kudos for that last week, Anthony. I said, remember when Anthony said that it's going to gauge it by how the flat earthers? So, yeah, I do remember that. So you caught that real early. But our side does see how they're scrambling. They do see what's been happening. And then to not address it as, wow, look at the reaction this Black Swan is doing. Maybe we ought to just jump on and keep moving it. They sit there and weaken it. They water it down.
And like I said, it's got an entity of its own. The girl the other day told me on Discord that she just gives ballers, you know, she just says Black Swan, and they all of a sudden they're running. They don't respond. They don't even want to talk about it. Just by saying Black Swan.
Yeah,
so
volumes.
Yeah. It's the important part was pointing it out. Did I cut somebody off?
I think Stacy
No.
B was speaking and it stopped.
Who?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying that's why it's very important not to confuse people on that. You got to stick to the Black Swan for a reason.
Oh, I agree. I agree completely.
I wonder if there's a baller on here who can actually tell us all what the Black Swan claim against them is. Over.
No, they don't even understand it. Our side don't even understand it.
They don't even understand it so badly that they're mistaking it for the fallacy, because there's a fallacy called Black Swan, and they don't even understand the difference.
Yeah, the comical part being that when unorthodox utilised the Black Swan fallacy, he was actually detailing his own guilt of that fallacy, which was really funny.
Kosho was doing that too.
Describing the Black Swan fallacy and actually detailing how they ignore evidence that's contrary to their general way of thinking about things, i.e. their general way of thinking about things, e.g. White Swan, is we have a geometric horizon. But they're going to ignore the fact that we've got a geometric impossibility. That's the Black Swan fallacy. And they, when they explain it, essentially are guilty of it. So that's 2 for 2. Great. That cheers me up a lot.
Even funnier than that, though, like an example of the Black Swan fallacy would be all swans are white, right? So in my past experience, since all swans are white, no swans can be black. And even if I'm presented with a black swan, that can't be a black swan, right? That's the fallacy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and we get people like Sean Hawkins saying they probably spray painted it, which is akin to saying the image is probably CGI. It's the same comparison.
Exactly. So they're guilty as shit for committing the fallacy, while we're the ones sitting here saying, here is the black swan. Morons. We're presenting the black swan. The black swan fallacy is denial of a black swan because all you've experienced is a white one. Get a grip. People are crazy. Fucking ballers, man. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the argument they are stabbing their own eyes out.
Yeah, it's painful. Absolutely, Arwin. In the process of debunking us, they have to concede our argument left and right. Oh, well, the R value's just apparent. You don't need the R value to look and assess the horizon and measure it. It's like, what? That's what we tell you in our normal debate. You don't need your R value and your curve calculator to measure this horizon. You're just reifying a model. No, we do. But now they say, we don't need the R value to look at a horizon. You're like, literally, they're conceding their argument and in some instances using our argument. Well, the horizon is obviously moving up and down with the weather and isn't fixed in the slightest. Well, your model necessitates a geometric horizon beyond which it cannot move. Yeah, you can have things obstructing it closer in the foreground. That's perfectly permissible within the geometry of your model. But it can't exceed a certain point. So that's the end of the geometry. But they still don't get it and will say, no, we can have the geometry altered by just changing the R value. What, changing the physicality of the globe you think you live on? No. So they're screwed left and right. Or they say, well, no, in this image, it's not a geometric horizon. It's loomed. What, not a geometric horizon? Our argument, you mean? Yeah, we know it's not a geometric horizon. Isn't that the thing you should be fighting for, Fundy Globehead? Claiming that we have a sphere geometry we all need to abide by? So you're saying not a geometric horizon in this image? Yeah, that's our argument too now, isn't it?
I love it. I love it.
They're screwed six ways from Sunday. It doesn't matter what defence they give. Most of the defences they give are actually our argument, which is just hilarious.
Maybe we should start getting like a Black Swan boot camp and start handing out Black Swans for flat earthers and then get them to say, this is my Black Swan. There are many like it, but this Black Swan is mine. Send them
Exactly. Yeah, there's plenty of examples of black swans. We've detailed Ranty's black swan in their Barrow Inverness images. So yeah, it's not like there isn't more than one black swan. It's not like it's a genetic freak of nature that disproves white swans because you've got one example of it. Yeah, there are definitely not just white swans. Black swans do exist. Swans, plural, more than one. You know, utilising one and saying, look, here's an example of one. I've got one. They're easy enough to acquire that I can be physically holding one and showing it you. That's not to say there aren't other examples. This is my gun, there are many like it. Very, very apt. Yes, indeed. So utilise the Black Swan. Weaponise your own Black Swan. Like the dude in Australia did. You know, you've probably got images of your own that are black swans. And point them out as such with the same exact formulation. And you'll have an undebunkable flat earth proof to publish. But as soon as you start altering it and fiddling with it, or decrying the legitimacy of it, or watering down how good a proof it is, well then, why just walk on by?
Well, you remember I said last week that every flat earther with a P900 or any type of instrument that can do the same will go out there and now know that it's not the objects that we're trying to bring and say, look, see, it didn't disappear, I can bring it in. But they're going to be looking for a horizon beyond it now. So they know what to go out there and film now. So we're going to have a lot more black swans because the argument now shows you the parameters that you're looking for to find the next one.
Sure. And at that point, Karen's argument becomes, actually, black swans are more common than white swans, which is perfectly sound and within the logical consistency.
That was when I said a week or so ago that we're gonna have to go back over all. We're gonna have to all go back over our evidences with a different perspective now, because there will be a lot more of them. It's just that when you look at it and go, hang on a minute, the horizon's the issue here. Let's look at that, because if the horizon don't match, then it kills their own model. Like gravity, Einstein kills their model, and all the other proofs kill the model. But it's just formulating it in the way that makes like the model obviously wrong, and that's the bit that we're working on. And now we can use this as a template and go back and reconsider our previous positions and go, hey, actually, yeah, there's more of these knocking around than we ever gave credit for. So in time, it will end up being the way Karen says. But right now, let's focus on the point. Horizon's there, shouldn't be there. It's not a geometric.
Yeah, the same way they've had to go back to the drawing board to dig out all our old arguments to bring it to us. Yeah. So have fun with that. Enjoy the scrambling, because we all see it.
It should also highlight to people how our controlled opposition works.
That has video CGI.
So our controlled opposition, this was right at the start, just before Black Swan. This is what we were talking about. Controlled opposition has got boats going over the edge of a flat Earth model. Well, those sorts of things aren't just happenstance. Then they're very carefully thought out and considered. They've got boats going over the edge. Well, why? Well, with this Black Swan, the people who do appreciate the strength of the argument will go, this is the linchpin of their argument. The boats don't go over the edge of the sphere. They don't have an edge for them to go over. That's a very key debunking to the heliocentric model. Well, if you're going to try and... if you have a good understanding of your own model and its own weaknesses, and you're engineering out perspective and engineering in curve into mathematical reifications of the model, you're going to have an acute awareness of where your weaknesses lie, and you're going to build up a preemptive defense to them in the form of these calculators. Well, when you actually identify the main weakness, you only need one little bird going after it, and it can demolish the entire thing. So in this instance, identifying the key weakness suddenly exposes the fact that that key weakness in their argument with boats going over the edge of their model is charged on us. They project it right onto us from the outset. You get here as a glober, look into flat Earth, and the first thing you come across is boats going over the edge of the flat Earth model. So that's what we get charged with. That's what we get asked about. Why? Well, it stops us asking them about it. Well, suddenly the tides have changed, haven't they? We're now asking them about their boats going over the edge of their stupid model that's geometrically impossible, as demonstrated by these optical images that can only be ever misrepresented in orthographic curve calculators that exclude perspective. So we have one. It's hook, line and sinker, whatever you want to call it. Last nail in the coffin. Whatever analogy floats your boat. All the puns intended.
I agree.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic that's happening right now. It's like I was surprised that there wouldn't. I knew there would be time would be required for people to get on top of this, but I didn't think it would be like a negative, not a negative, but a dilution of. I didn't think that would be a realistic option. I thought it would be obvious to everybody what's going on here.
Nobody saw this coming.
Exactly. That's why it's a black swan. Unforeseen event, usually with extreme consequences.
Even with,
I'd say it was on point. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. That's all right. Even with that being said, what Anthony just said, it narrows down why they're reacting the way they are. Because it's easily understood. If it was a complicated thing that QE put out, I would still be saying, hey, can you go over it one more time? I'm confused. I got it the first time he said it. I mean, how many of you got it the first time he said it?
Get it immediately.
Yep.
That's why they're flat earthers,
I didn't.
right? Sorry to cut you off.
I got it.
I didn't get it immediately, no. I told QE it was squirrely. So he explained it to me and I went, yeah, it's a bit squirrely. Don't like it. that was my, I'm being honest, that was my reaction.
Then what happened?
Then he explained it again. And I slept on it, woke up, and started telling him how wonderful the proof that I had understood was. And then a few days later, Anthony did the same to me and spent about half an hour telling me how important this was. It was great. So it goes down the line.
All right, but once you put some mental effort into it, you got it.
Say that again.
So Nathan,
I said once you put some mental effort into it, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we gave the world, the flat earthers, how many shows? And then even a collector's edition. And then Mitchell from Australia mirrored it with his own few slides that we didn't even use, but he didn't take away from the argument. He stayed true to it. And so now the world's got all these videos, a collector's edition, and a second party in Mitchell from Australia doing a wonderful job on it. And they don't get it.
John Thor also. John Thor also did a super cut of it. Yep. It was pretty good.
But I didn't bring John into it because this happened before John, but anyway.
I wonder if there's just
Jealousy
a
of
little
what,
bit of
though?
jealousy going on. Just because it's just something that they didn't come up with. It just figures that, okay, well, it isn't just the black swan just because I didn't say it.
Then what is the purpose of this? Is this for entertainment or truth then? That's what I want to question then.
Well, we're here for truth. Can't
I
speak for
agree.
everybody else.
So
but
I was
this
I was
is
going to
where
ask
the
Nathan.
globe comes to die. So that's what we're about over here.
I was going to ask Nathan. Knowing what you know now, and forgive me if you've already answered this, would you had rather them not bring up this black swan, or just preferred a different outcome of this?
I am grateful that they've brought it up. So as much as that might piss QE off, we've now had the opportunity to have this discussion. If I was to take the attitude that I don't want them to be a detractor, then that's not my attitude. We have had an entire show today dedicated to the misapprehensions of one of the people on our own side. In this instance, very specifically Karen B. Now, I don't want her to feel in any way vilified, if that's the right word, by our actions. We just want a concise understanding from our own side and an appreciation of how strong the proof is. That's what I want. Now, by her diluting it, if that's the correct word, or trivializing it, it means that we get another opportunity to discuss it. Then I am extremely grateful to Karen. Likewise, when people, even if it's just a ad hom ridden mess, attack me on this subject, I thank them for the advert, because that generates discussion. So, no, I'm not in any way unpleased that Karen has brought this up, or anybody else for that matter. Now, we may not agree with their approach to it, And you can be damn sure we'll be correcting that, as we have done, right? So, you know, shout out to Karen B. I'm grateful to you. And yeah, hopefully she doesn't take great offence at us questioning her motivations or her reasoning behind her thought processes so far. You know, this is hopefully an open and interesting dialogue for an audience. Now, the reason I've given that preamble is because you're all saying, well, we're all here for truth first and foremost. Well, I'm actually a YouTuber first and foremost. Sorry if that offends anybody.
Mm-hmm. I understand that, though. Yeah.
You
get out as a
Thank
YouTuber.
you for-
Just here for super chats.
But then again, you just spoke some truth again. So you're true.
Thank you for saying something positive about somebody who does a lot for flat Earth.
To me, I think the Globebusters showed their ignorance or contempt. I don't know which one's worse.
This might shock some people. I know for a fact that Bob understands and appreciates the strength of this argument. He's been in my own chat saying it, repeating it, and understanding it. So, I'm sorry to drop you in here, QE. Before the show started, QE was saying, I want to critique Globebusters in terms of their approach to this. And I said, I don't want you to specifically do it towards Globebusters. I don't actually know Jaren's position on this. I don't want to... I'll take him out of the equation, more specifically about Bob. Bob's been in the comments and understands it, and even took to a certain degree a certain amount of credit and said, look, I discussed this with Ben before he did his Vegas presentation. So Bob was quick on the uptake in regards to the strength of this particular piece of information, and he understood the logical consistency. I know that for a fact. So to level these accusations at Globebusters is totally unreasonable. So hence I've tried to keep it specific to Karen.
Yes. Specific.
Yeah. Because I know Bob understands the strength of this argument. I know that for a fact.
And me personally,
way,
I love
did y'all
Karen
see
B. I have no beef for Karen B, but I just wish that when I listened yesterday that I heard them understand the importance of pointing out this specific argument. Not that there are so many of these observations out there that anybody could just look at them, because they've been out there, nobody's been paying attention to them, right? They're just out there as a collective until somebody took one and put a stamp on it and said, we're going to look at this one right here, right? And we're going to show you guys that with this, just this one right here, destroys your entire spinning ball monkey religion, right? Yes, now go forth to find all the other little black swans running around. But nobody was doing that before somebody took one and, like Nathan said, put some armor on it, gave it some guns, and sent it out to destroy the ballers. Or more destroy the heliocentric model, I should say. Go ahead, Tim.
Let me tell you how I see this argument. It is the very best. It's at the top of the list of any argument. And until something else comes with this kind of strength, I believe this is the very best. And here's why. All along, ever since Flat Earth started, they've been telling us the boats are disappearing bottom up, bottom up, bottom up. And that's because of the curve, the curve, the curve. Well, the curve is based on the radius, radius, radius. Okay, do the math. Their own calculator, which doesn't even use perspective. So there goes the parent horizon. They're not even relying on the parent horizon where the sky seems to meet at an arbitrary point with the sea. They say, no, it's physical, it's geometric, it's the curve. All of a sudden, apply 1 foot observer height, horizon can't be more than 1.23 miles out. All of a sudden, it's over 9.42 miles out. Now the argument is there is no physical, there is no geometric, it's all apparent. Now there's 5 apparents. Over.
Yeah,
Come on,
it is exactly. They're having to argue our point. Our argument is the horizon isn't the leading edge of a sphere for boats to go over. The horizon isn't the leading edge of a sphere to block the Chicago skyline. The horizon is not the leading edge of a sphere that will bend as you raise in altitude. All of these are their standard positions, and their rebuttal to the Black Swan is, We don't have a geometric horizon. That's their rebuttal. Well, their religion's based on us having a geometric horizon. So we've won.
Exactly. You can tell by the lack of rebuttal to that we have.
Radio check.
Hey,
Well,
Babs.
the argument's fallacious.
Hold on. Fallacious? Black Swan fallacy, eh?
Well, it's doubly
So
fallacious.
you're
You
gonna
got a
try this
reification
again?
fallacy and you got a black swan fallacy in your black swan.
So start with the reification
Radio check.
fallacy. Go on. What's the reification fallacy we're guilty of?
What a clown.
Oh, I was just seeing if I'm coming through okay. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Babs.
Yeah, you're good, Babs.
We're just being
Plus,
accused
I'd
of
rather
having a
hear you.
reification
Yeah,
fallacy.
yeah. It doesn't matter what the Glowbusters think. They don't do what we do. They don't go against the ballers every single day like we do. They just have their little show where they like circle jerk and preach nonsense and never get any of their ideas challenged. So it doesn't really matter what they think.
That's totally that's been disproven on this very show, I'm afraid, Babs. We've just challenged their ideas. So even though we're on their own side, I've got to disagree with you because that's self-evident.
Never gonna address any of the challenges that you put forward to them? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's not true either. They literally had me on their show so I could critique them. I can't believe I'm defending them for their ability to be critiqued, but when I've been personally on their show to critique them and they had me on to do so, I'm not going to agree with you because that simply isn't true, Babs. I'm really sorry.
No, I think the point.
Have they addressed any of your future challenges beyond that point? Have they done that?
Can't we drop it?
We can drop it.
I just don't agree
I get
with
what
you.
you're saying, though, Babs.
Yeah, you say the point he's making is that there's nobody there to challenge it live when they're making the point, because a lot of it's like they're questioning, but like not questioning contentiously. They're questioning like, well, how can this be if this and that and the other, and it's just a different style. But his point is that it can't be challenged on the show because there's nobody there to challenge it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get accused of having an echo chamber. I've got completely open door policy. Anybody can join the show. But yet, no matter what you do, you'll get accused of having an echo chamber. And I just don't want this to turn into a tit for tat against Glowbusters in terms of critiquing their show style, when it's not my beef. My beef is very specific about this particular thing that QE has brought up today. Now, I understand his gripe, and I'm happy to back him on it. Beyond that, in terms of critiquing Glowbusters' style, I just don't see I don't see the point in that either. What's this going to achieve, Babs?
Right, that was an ad hom, and I was wrong for that.
You weren't wrong.
That was easy. Bloody hell. Thank you.
The point he's making is that it's unchallenged because there's nobody there to challenge it. It's just a different style. He's not criticizing it the way that Nathan's interpreting it.
Exactly.
Okay. Fine, I'll agree to disagree.
Sure.
Right. I mean, well, he doesn't have a debate show. That's the whole thing. I mean, he doesn't have a debate. He pretty much he shows information. So I don't think that's a fair point to say where he doesn't have anybody to challenge it, because
No, we all have a part in the community to do something. They don't have to debate.
I just heard we don't have a debate. Say that again, Stacey.
No, I'm just saying not every single channel has a debate. You know, it's what we do over here, you guys do over here, but they still give something to the community whether they're debating or not. That's my only.
Exactly. It's an unfair premise to attack them on when we've got a specific beef with a very, very specific proof we're not on a sphere in this example. That's it. And with just that, we've managed to chew out a good hour and a half, right? Because it's an interesting topic. It's an interesting proof. It's interesting the way they're reacting to it. It's interesting that they're conceding with our arguments as the defence All of these things are fantastic. So our concerns for why someone would poo-poo that in any way, that in itself is interesting. Beyond that, not so much. Probably just going to cause dissension. I don't want to start a war. No, thank you.
Yeah. I believe we're going to hear back from Karen that she does not believe what Kiwi's saying, because I have heard her talk on other shows, and it's not in that manner. So I think it's a little bit of confusion going on right now.
I think so too. I think you're absolutely right, which is why just discussing these things in the way we are is far more conducive to people actually understanding at the end of it. Now, my hope would be it's Karen, because she's the one being spoken about, but if she doesn't appreciate that, obviously me personally and anybody else who is doing something similar are communicating with their audiences. So I hope the end goal for me is to educate the audience in terms of how this proof works. Our critique of Karen serves that beautifully, because she does represent lots of other people who will have the same idea or the same criticism. So she's representative of a whole bunch of other people just like her in the way she's approaching this. Great. So we can address a whole bunch of other people who are in the audience who have probably got exactly the same attitude as Karen has. So, she's not alone in her opinion as far as I'm concerned. That makes it worthy of communication to a wider number of people. Any last remarks on this topic?
Yeah, it's a reification fallacy and a black swan fallacy, just to conclude.
What's a reification fallacy?
Yeah, and then define a black swan fallacy.
Concreteness, right? You're equating an optical phenomenon with physicality.
Are we? Are we? So do we, flat earthers, claim that the horizon is physical? Do we do that?
Or do you tell us that boats go over the horizon?
I'm talking about your specific argument, your black swan argument.
Sorry, do we, as flat earthers, claim we have a physical sphere edge for boats to go over? Or is
That's not what I'm talking about, Nathan. I'm talking about your
argument. Yeah, you get angry, you little bitch. That would be
Still don't understand the argument.
Your reification of an Earth curve edge into the optical position that's the horizon. That would be you who reifies.
You're shifting on me, Nathan.
Yeah, because it's true. Yeah, shifting because I do not in any way, shape or form reify the not actual location in the distance into a physical geometric horizon. I do not do that. You globe worshipping zealots absolutely do. You are guilty of reification. You reify a not actual location into a physical edge of a sphere. So you are, again, for the second time in a row you've joined, projecting your reification of your model onto us. You are guilty of that fallacy.
So you're not claiming that optical phenomenon is physical?
No. We claim the optical horizon is merely the optical horizon. You think it's the edge of a sphere, you moron!
Okay, well then your argument
would be that you're guilty of reification, twatbag. Yeah, no shit. As the penny finally dropped, that you're accusing us of the very fallacy you're guilty of when you reify your globe model. And by doing it with the horizon, which is what this argument you're accusing us of being guilty of a reification fallacy, is in fact you turning a non-physical position into the edge of a sphere. You're guilty of it, not us, you stupid idiot.
I'm not making an argument. I'm not making an argument, Nathan.
Oh, you're not making the argument that the horizon's the edge of a sphere?
No, not.
Well then, welcome to Flat Earth. That's correct. The premise of that religion that apparently you're not arguing for anymore is that the horizon is the edge of a sphere. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Oops.
And with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to all of today's Discord and G+ panels for making this after show possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!